Lilo and Stitch is a 2002 animated feature film produced by Walt Disney Feature Animation and released by Walt Disney Pictures, marking a significant departure from the studio's usual fairy tale formula. Unlike earlier Disney classics that relied heavily on European settings, princess narratives, and musical fairy tales, this film placed its story in the vibrant Hawaiian Islands, specifically Kauai, a location known for its lush landscapes, cultural richness, and unique traditions. The film was directed by Chris Sanders and Dean Debois, both of whom also co-wrote the screenplay. Sanders, in addition to directing and writing, was the creative mind behind the character Stitch, designing him to be simultaneously menacing and endearing. The concept of Stitch, also known as Experiment 626, was a striking combination of chaotic energy and lovable mischief, and the filmmakers designed him as a character who could evolve emotionally over the course of the story. The film is a science fiction comedy drama that blends elements of action, adventure, and heartfelt family storytelling. Its central thematic focus is Ohana, a Hawaiian term meaning family, which emphasizes that family bonds go beyond blood relations and encompass a sense of belonging, support, and unconditional love. The filmmakers intentionally emphasize this theme, embedding it in both the narrative arc and the emotional resonance of the story. The plot begins far from Earth in outer space, introducing audiences to the mischievous and dangerous creation known as Experiment 626. He is a product of the genius but eccentric alien scientist Dr. Jumba Chukiba, who engineered him to be virtually indestructible, highly intelligent, and extremely chaotic. Experiment 626's abilities include superhuman strength, immense durability, the capacity to think strategically, and a natural instinct for mischief and destruction. Recognizing the inherent threat of this creation, the Galactic Federation deems 626 illegal, prompting the scientists' imprisonment. However, Experiment 626 proves resourceful, escaping confinement by stealing a spaceship and crash landing on Earth, specifically the tropical and serene island of Kauai, Hawaii. This collision of an alien experiment with an idyllic human setting establishes the foundation for both the comedic and emotional dimensions of the film. On Earth, the narrative shifts to a human perspective, focusing on Lilo Pelekai, a young Hawaiian girl navigating a world that often misunderstands her. Lilo's parents have died, leaving her in the care of her older sister Nanny. Nanny is portrayed as a responsible yet struggling guardian, balancing her own personal ambitions, work responsibilities, and the pressures of caring for a spirited and unconventional child. Their household is under close scrutiny by Cobra Bubbles, a former social worker with a complex past who now serves as a monitor to ensure that Lilo is being raised in a safe and supportive environment. Lilo is depicted as imaginative, emotionally sensitive, and socially awkward, often feeling isolated in her community due to her eccentric interests, particularly her fascination with science fiction, aliens, and unusual pets. Her loneliness drives the story forward, as she longs for companionship and acceptance, a need that is central to the narrative's exploration of family and friendship. When Lilo visits an animal shelter, hoping to adopt a dog to serve as her companion, she encounters the creature that will become Stitch. Mistaking the alien for a dog, she names him Stitch and brings him home. Stitch, initially motivated solely by self-preservation and a desire to escape capture, demonstrates the chaotic tendencies for which he was designed. He wreaks havoc in Lilo's home, creating a juxtaposition between his destructive instincts and Lilo's innocence and emotional vulnerability. As the story progresses, the film carefully balances moments of comedic chaos with emotional growth, showing Stitch's gradual understanding of empathy, love, and connection. Through his interactions with Lilo, he learns that family is not just a genetic connection but an emotional bond characterized by loyalty, care, and mutual support. Simultaneously, the Galactic Federation dispatches Jumba and his assistant, Agent Pleakley, to Earth to retrieve Experiment 626. Both characters serve as a combination of comic relief and plot drivers. Jumba is eccentric, obsessive, and occasionally overconfident, while Pleakley is nervous, cautious, and often overly concerned with social norms and human customs. Their attempts to capture Stitch provide numerous humorous sequences, as their misunderstandings of Earth culture contrast sharply with their advanced alien knowledge. While initially focused on retrieving Stitch, the narrative shifts to explore how Stitch's presence transforms the lives of those around him, particularly Lilo and Nanny, highlighting the central theme that love and family can come from unexpected places. The film's climax revolves around the conflict between Stitch's original programming and his newly developed emotional attachments. When Lilo faces danger, Stitch chooses to protect her, defying the destructive instincts he was engineered to follow. This moment embodies the film's core message: individuals, even those designed for chaos or deemed irredeemable, are capable of change through love and acceptance. The Galactic Federation ultimately recognizes this transformation, allowing Stitch to remain on Earth and remain part of Lilo and Nanny's family. The resolution reinforces the importance of Ohana, showing that even unconventional families can provide stability, love, and mutual support. The voice cast plays a crucial role in bringing these characters to life. Davy Chase voices Lilo with authenticity, capturing her emotional complexity, vulnerability, and quirky charm. Chris Sanders voices Stitch, providing a unique combination of animalistic growls, expressive vocalizations, and subtle intonations that convey emotion without relying on conventional dialogue. Tia Carrere voices Nanny, portraying her as a grounded, nurturing, and determined older sister. David Ogden Stiers brings humor and eccentricity to Dr. Jumba Jukiba, while Kevin McDonald's portrayal of Pleakley adds nervous energy and comic timing. Ving Rhames delivers a surprisingly heartfelt performance as Cobra Bubbles, grounding the film's more emotional sequences with a sense of realism and authority. Zoe Caldwell voices the Grand Councilwoman, adding a tone of gravitas to the Galactic Federation's leadership, emphasizing the larger cosmic context of Stitch's existence. The film was released theatrically on June 21, 2002, in the United States and was later distributed globally. It was accompanied by a marketing campaign that highlighted both its comedic and emotional elements, particularly focusing on Stitch as a mischievous yet lovable character. The soundtrack features an unusual mix for Disney at the time, incorporating multiple Elvis Presley songs to reflect Lilo's quirky personality and cultural tastes. This musical choice further reinforced the film's unique identity, setting it apart from other animated releases of the early 2000s. The animation style combined traditional 2D hand-drawn techniques with watercolor backgrounds inspired by Hawaiian landscapes, giving the film a visually distinct aesthetic that contributed to its charm and authenticity. Critically, Lilo and Stitch was praised for its originality, emotional depth, and cultural representation. Reviewers highlighted the film's departure from standard Disney princess tropes, noting its focus on sibling relationships, non-traditional families, and the integration of a sci-fi narrative with real-world human struggles. Commercially, the film performed well, earning significant box office revenue and building a dedicated fanbase. Its success led to multiple direct-to-video sequels, a television series, merchandise, and eventually a live-action adaptation, cementing its status as a beloved franchise within Disney's portfolio. The film also influenced discussions about cultural authenticity in animation, as it was one of the few major studio films of the era to incorporate indigenous Hawaiian language, traditions, and settings with sensitivity and attention to detail. The emotional resonance of Lilo and Stitch lies in its exploration of themes like family, acceptance, individuality, and personal growth. The story emphasizes that family is defined not just by blood, but by commitment, love, and shared experiences. Stitch's journey from a destructive alien experiment to a caring family member mirrors Lilo's own journey of finding connection and understanding in a world that often misunderstands her. This dual narrative, of both human and alien characters discovering empathy and belonging, creates a rich emotional tapestry that appeals to audiences of all ages, making the film both entertaining and meaningful. Music and sound play an essential role in Lilo and Stitch, functioning not merely as background accompaniment but as a vital narrative and emotional tool that enhances the film's storytelling. The soundtrack of the film is a distinctive fusion of Hawaiian musical traditions, contemporary influences, and playful nods to American pop culture, creating an auditory landscape that is both culturally rooted and universally appealing. One of the most striking aspects of the film's music is its use of Elvis Presley songs, which are interwoven into key scenes to reflect Lilo's unique personality and emotional state. Lilo's fascination with Elvis is more than a quirky character trait, it symbolizes her desire for connection, her embrace of individuality, and her attempt to navigate a world that often misunderstands her. Songs such as Burning Love and Suspicious Minds, performed diegetically within the narrative, provide comedic moments while also deepening character development, illustrating how music can serve as a bridge between inner life and outward expression. In addition to the Elvis-inspired elements, the film incorporates authentic Hawaiian music and soundscapes, reflecting both tradition and everyday life on the island of Kauai. These elements include ukulele arrangements, slack-key guitar, and vocal harmonies that evoke the natural rhythm and cultural heritage of Hawaii. Traditional chants, hula music, and ambient sounds, such as the crashing waves, tropical birds, and rustling palm trees, are seamlessly integrated into the score, creating a vivid and immersive sense of place. These auditory elements are not merely decorative, they actively support the film's themes of family, belonging, and connection to the land. The music emphasizes moments of emotional reflection, provides cues for narrative tension or humor, and enhances the authenticity of the Hawaiian setting. By carefully blending these diverse musical influences, the filmmakers achieve a soundscape that resonates with the narrative's emotional and cultural layers, reinforcing the story's universal and local significance simultaneously. Sound design in Lilo and Stitch is equally innovative and critical to the storytelling, particularly in representing Stitch's unique character. Since Stitch is an alien creature with limited dialogue, much of his personality, emotion, and intention is conveyed through vocalizations, sound effects, and nonverbal auditory cues. Chris Sanders, the co-director and voice of Stitch, developed a range of expressive sounds for the character, including growls, squeaks, roars, and purrs, which communicate curiosity, mischief, fear, affection, and excitement. The sound team then enhanced these vocalizations with subtle digital manipulation, creating a rich and varied auditory palette that makes Stitch feel alive, sentient, and emotionally resonant. These sounds, paired with expressive animation, allow audiences to understand and empathize with Stitch despite his initial chaotic behavior. This interplay of sound and visual expression demonstrates the filmmaker's attention to detail and commitment to building a fully realized, immersive character experience. The Hawaiian cultural context is another critical layer that elevates Lilo and Stitch beyond conventional animated storytelling. From the outset, the film engages deeply with local traditions, values, and community structures, avoiding superficial representations. The central theme of Ohana, which asserts that family is defined not only by blood but also by love, loyalty, and mutual support, anchors both the narrative and character development. This concept is repeatedly reinforced through plot events, dialogue, and character interactions, ensuring that it is not merely a cultural embellishment but a core philosophical principle driving the story. The film also presents Hawaiian language terms, customs, and ceremonies with care and respect. For instance, small details such as traditional meals, hula dancing, community gatherings, and local expressions are incorporated naturally into the plot, providing authenticity and enriching the viewer's understanding of Hawaiian culture. Hawaiian landscapes are further celebrated through both visual and auditory design. The film's soundscape captures the environmental nuances of the islands, from gentle ocean breezes to the rhythmic crashing of waves and the calls of native birds. These auditory cues do more than set a scene, they reinforce the connection between the characters and their environment, emphasizing themes of place, rootedness, and belonging. By grounding Lilo and Nani's experiences in a real, vibrant, and culturally specific setting, the film enhances both its emotional depth and its educational value, introducing audiences to Hawaiian ways of life while maintaining universal relatability. Voice acting in Lilo and Stitch amplifies the impact of both music and cultural context. Davy Chase's performance as Lilo captures the nuances of childhood curiosity, loneliness, and emotional intensity. Her voice conveys both vulnerability and determination, making Lilo's emotional journey believable and deeply engaging. Chris Sanders' performance as Stitch, as previously mentioned, relies heavily on nonverbal cues and vocal creativity, demonstrating how a character without conventional speech can still command audience empathy and emotional investment. Tia Karere's portrayal of Nani conveys warmth, responsibility, and realism, balancing humor with the weight of adult responsibility. David Ogden Steyer's voice work as Jumba adds layers of eccentricity and charm, while Kevin McDonald's Pleakley provides comic relief through careful timing and vocal inflection. Ving Rhames' deep, authoritative voice as Cobra Bubbles anchors moments of tension, lending gravity and credibility to the film's external conflicts. Each performance is carefully calibrated to match the narrative tone, support character development, and integrate seamlessly with the music and sound design, creating a holistic and immersive auditory experience. The interplay between sound, music, and visual storytelling in Lilo and Stitch is integral to its emotional resonance and cultural authenticity. Key sequences, such as Stitch's first attempts to navigate Lilo's home, the chaotic chase scenes around the island, and the climactic rescue, are punctuated by musical motifs and carefully designed sound effects that enhance tension, humor, and pathos. The integration of traditional Hawaiian music, ambient sounds, and character-specific vocalizations creates an auditory landscape that is both narratively functional and artistically expressive. In doing so, the film not only entertains but also educates viewers, offering insights into Hawaiian culture, environmental context, and interpersonal dynamics, all while supporting a universally appealing story about family, love, and belonging. As the story continues, one of the most memorable sequences unfolds when Stitch begins to explore his new environment on Kauai. Initially, his curiosity manifests as mischief. He wanders through the town, terrorizes local pets, and creates confusion among residents. These early adventures are not only visually dynamic but also function as a clever mechanism for character development. Stitch, despite his alien origin, begins to observe human interactions, learn social cues, and experiment with behaviors that elicit positive responses from Lilo. The contrast between Stitch's raw, chaotic energy and Lilo's structured, imaginative world creates a compelling tension that drives much of the film's narrative. Each misadventure, whether it involves inadvertent destruction or playful antics, subtly reinforces the theme that even beings designed for chaos are capable of growth and change when exposed to love and acceptance. One of the most impactful scenes in this segment involves Stitch attending a local hula class with Lilo. While seemingly light-hearted, this scene is rich in emotional and cultural subtext. It highlights Lilo's connection to her heritage, her desire to belong, and her effort to maintain normalcy despite personal hardships. For Stitch, the scene serves as an early lesson in empathy and observation. He begins to understand human social interaction and the importance of emotional bonds. The juxtaposition of alien awkwardness with culturally grounded human rituals allows the filmmakers to explore humor, cultural authenticity, and emotional resonance simultaneously. This sequence exemplifies how Lilo and Stitch merges entertainment with meaningful storytelling, creating moments that are memorable for both children and adults. The introduction of the Galactic Federation agents, Jumba and Pleakley, marks a turning point in narrative tension. Their pursuit of Stitch provides a continuous external threat that contrasts with the domestic challenges faced by Lilo and Nanny. Jumba, who oscillates between antagonist and comic relief, is particularly fascinating because his motivations are complex. While he initially embodies chaos and irresponsibility as the creator of Stitch, he gradually demonstrates a capacity for care, particularly when he recognizes the bond forming between Stitch and Lilo. Pleakley, in contrast, is often a source of humor, misinterpreting human culture and providing a lens through which the audience can reflect on their own societal norms. The dynamic between these extraterrestrial characters, Lilo and Nanny, deepens the narrative, illustrating the interplay of conflict, humor, and ultimately, cooperation. As the story progresses toward its climax, Stitch's character development reaches its most critical moments. After a series of chaotic incidents, including accidentally damaging Nanny's apartment and endangering others, Stitch begins to internalize the consequences of his actions. These moments of self-awareness are subtle but impactful, showing that transformation is neither instantaneous nor easy. Lilo's unwavering support, patience, and belief in Stitch's potential for good are essential catalysts for his growth. By the time social services, represented by Cobra Bubbles, question Nanny's ability to care for Lilo, Stitch has developed enough empathy to actively intervene. The sequence in which he defends his new family is both thrilling and emotionally charged. The animation heightens this moment with expressive character design, dynamic action, and careful pacing, ensuring that audiences are fully invested in the outcome. A pivotal element of the film's storytelling lies in its use of humor to convey character and theme. Unlike traditional slapstick comedy that exists purely for laughs, the humor in Lilo and Stitch is often character-driven, arising naturally from the personalities, behaviors, and interactions of the characters. Stitch's antics, such as stealing objects, misunderstanding human customs, or attempting to imitate human behavior, create comedic tension while simultaneously advancing narrative and emotional development. Similarly, Pleakley's exaggerated reactions and Jumba's overconfidence provide layered humor that engages audiences of all ages. This approach to comedy ensures that laughter is always meaningful, reinforcing the film's themes of growth, family, and acceptance rather than merely serving as entertainment. The visual design of the film is integral to its storytelling. The choice to render Hawaiian landscapes in watercolor provides an organic, fluid backdrop against which the characters' personalities can shine. Each frame is carefully composed to balance visual beauty with narrative clarity. Action sequences are choreographed to maintain spatial coherence, ensuring that audiences can follow the story without confusion. Simultaneously, quieter moments, such as Lilo and Stitch bonding on the beach or Nanny comforting her sister, are given ample visual space to allow for emotional resonance. The integration of character animation and environmental design exemplifies Disney's attention to detail and commitment to immersive storytelling. Music continues to play a central role in shaping the narrative. Alan Silvestri's score underlines emotional beats with orchestral cues that enhance tension, humor, or poignancy as needed. The integration of Elvis Presley songs, performed diegetically by Lilo, adds another layer of narrative complexity. These songs function as expressions of character identity, emotional state, and cultural reference, bridging the gap between the film's whimsical, alien elements and the grounded human story. By interweaving music, action, and emotional development, the filmmakers create a cohesive cinematic experience that engages multiple senses and reinforces storytelling on several levels. The commercial strategy surrounding Lilo and Stitch also contributed to its success and enduring cultural presence. Prior to its release, Disney's marketing emphasized Stitch's chaotic charm and Lilo's relatable individuality. Trailers highlighted both the humor of an alien causing havoc in everyday life and the warmth of the family-centric story. Merchandising, including toys, apparel, and theme park appearances, capitalized on Stitch's unique appeal as a character who is mischievous yet lovable. These efforts ensured that the film's reach extended beyond the theater, allowing audiences to engage with the characters and themes on multiple levels. The combination of narrative depth, character appeal, and strategic marketing cemented Lilo and Stitch as a commercially and culturally significant property. Following the film's theatrical success, Disney expanded the narrative universe through sequels and television adaptations. Stitch. The movie, released in 2003, served as a bridge to Lilo and Stitch, the series, which aired from 2003 to 2006. These continuations explored the adventures of other genetic experiments, further developing the world introduced in the original film. Direct-to-video sequels, such as Lilo and Stitch 2, Stitch Has a Glitch and Leroy and Stitch, provided additional depth to the main characters' arcs and introduced new challenges, all while maintaining the central themes of family, belonging, and personal growth. International adaptations, such as the Japanese anime series Stitch, reinterpreted the story for different cultural contexts, highlighting the universal resonance of Lilo and Stitch's themes. Fan reception has been another crucial factor in the film's enduring impact. Audiences responded positively to the unconventional family structure, the integration of Hawaiian culture, and the emotional complexity of the characters. Stitch quickly became a cultural icon, appearing in Disney theme parks, merchandise, video games, and cross-media collaborations. The film's exploration of grief, resilience, and familial bonds resonated with older audiences, while the humor, action, and visual appeal engaged younger viewers. This dual-layered resonance has helped maintain Lilo and Stitch as one of Disney's most beloved and enduring properties. Beyond the central trio of Lilo, Nanny, and Stitch, Lilo and Stitch features a constellation of minor characters who enrich the narrative and contribute to its thematic complexity. Each character, even in limited screen time, embodies aspects of human, or alien, behavior, offering lessons in empathy, responsibility, and morality. Cobra Bubbles, the social worker monitoring Lilo's welfare, exemplifies a figure who balances authority with compassion. His stoic demeanor and commanding presence initially suggest rigidity, but subtle cues in his dialogue and actions reveal deep understanding. For example, when he evaluates Nanny's household, his observations are sharp yet empathetic, recognizing both her shortcomings and her genuine commitment to Lilo. Cobra Bubbles serves as a narrative instrument, representing the societal pressures and institutional structures that families navigate. His role underscores the film's attention to realism, illustrating that love and moral oversight are not mutually exclusive. David Kawena, Nanny's friend and eventual romantic partner, provides another layer of support to the family. As a human anchor in Nanny and Lilo's lives, David exemplifies the importance of community and friendship in sustaining families. His calm, dependable presence contrasts with the chaos Stitch introduces, offering stability and highlighting the value of trusted allies. David's interactions with Nanny also reflect subtle romantic development, which is interwoven naturally into the narrative without overshadowing the primary focus on familial bonds. These secondary characters enrich the story, making the universe feel lived in and authentic, while reinforcing its central message that family extends beyond biological ties. While the theatrical release focuses primarily on Stitch's integration into Lilo's household, the broader franchise introduces a remarkable expansion of characters in the form of Jumba's other genetic experiments. Each of these 625 additional experiments, later explored in sequels and the television series, embodies distinct traits and challenges, often exaggerated human or animal tendencies. For example, some experiments are hyper-intelligent, while others exhibit obsessive compulsions, extreme laziness, or uncontrollable aggression. Collectively, they provide a canvas to explore themes of diversity, identity, and acceptance. The central lesson of the franchise, that everyone has a place where they belong, is amplified through these secondary characters, as audiences witness each experiment finding their own Ohana. The careful design of each experiment's personality and visual appearance demonstrates the animator's creativity and commitment to storytelling. Each minor character, while whimsical or absurd, carries symbolic weight, reflecting aspects of human nature in a way accessible to children and thought-provoking for adults. The animation of Lilo and Stitch deserves a detailed examination. Character animation blends traditional hand-drawn techniques with early digital enhancement, allowing for fluid movement and expressive gestures. Stitch's design is particularly notable. He is compact yet highly flexible, with retractable arms, antennae, and a range of facial expressions that convey emotion without conventional dialogue. His movements are simultaneously chaotic and precise, reflecting his dual nature as a creature of destruction and a being capable of deep emotional growth. Lilo's animation, in contrast, emphasizes subtle gestures, posture, and facial microexpressions, capturing her vulnerability, mischief, and intelligence. Nanny's design is grounded and realistic, reflecting maturity and responsibility through body language, posture, and interactions with other characters. The contrast between Stitch's exaggerated, elastic physicality and the grounded realism of Lilo and Nanny emphasizes their differing origins while visually reinforcing the narrative's core theme of bridging differences. Background art plays an equally crucial role in establishing the film's atmosphere and cultural authenticity. The animators drew inspiration from actual locations in Kauai, capturing its rugged cliffs, waterfalls, tropical foliage, and beaches. Watercolor techniques provide depth, warmth, and a sense of light permeating the environment. Weather patterns, such as sudden rainstorms or gentle sunlight filtering through palm trees, are used strategically to reflect narrative tone. For example, stormy skies often coincide with moments of conflict or tension, while sunny landscapes accompany scenes of family bonding, play, or personal growth. These visual choices create an immersive world that feels simultaneously real and fantastical, anchoring the extraordinary events of the story within a believable environment. Music and sound design further enhance the narrative's emotional resonance. Alan Silvestri's orchestral score employs leitmotifs for characters and narrative arcs, reinforcing emotional continuity throughout the film. Stitch's mischievous acts are often accompanied by whimsical, percussive cues, while moments of reflection or bonding are highlighted by soaring strings or gentle woodwinds. The use of Elvis Presley's songs, interwoven with Silvestri's original compositions, functions as a narrative device, revealing character psychology, cultural context, and emotional subtext. Lilo's connection to Elvis is emblematic of her creativity, individuality, and attachment to joy, offering viewers insight into her inner world and framing her interactions with Stitch as a bridge between chaos and understanding. The sound design, including Stitch's vocalizations, environmental effects, and incidental music, further immerses audiences in the Hawaiian setting, creating a multisensory storytelling experience. From a marketing and commercial perspective, Lilo and Stitch was a notable success. Released on June 21, 2002, in the United States, it quickly captured audience attention due to its unique premise, memorable characters, and emotionally compelling story. The promotional campaign emphasized both the humor and heart of the film, showcasing Stitch's mischief and Lilo's quirky personality while underscoring the importance of family. Creative teaser trailers, which often featured Stitch interrupting scenes from classic Disney films, generated excitement and highlighted the film's irreverent, playful tone. Merchandise, including plush toys, apparel, and accessories, became highly popular, reinforcing the character's appeal and extending the narrative's reach beyond cinema. Box office performance reflected this success, with strong domestic and international returns that solidified the film's status as a commercial and critical achievement. Critical reception praised the film's originality, emotional depth, and cultural authenticity. Reviewers noted its ability to address complex themes such as grief, familial responsibility, and social judgment without sacrificing accessibility for younger audiences. Many critics highlighted the film's humor, animation quality, and character development, emphasizing its balance of comedy, action, and heartfelt storytelling. Lilo and Stitch received nominations for multiple awards and has since been recognized as one of Disney's standout animated features of the early 2000s, with enduring influence on both audiences and creators. The narrative and its characters have inspired an expansive franchise. Direct-to-video sequels, including Stitch. The movie, Lilo and Stitch 2, Stitch Has a Glitch, and Leroy and Stitch, extended the story by exploring Stitch's interactions with the remaining experiments, providing both entertainment and moral lessons. The television series elaborated on these adventures, offering episodic storytelling that developed characters in depth while exploring themes of friendship, identity, and acceptance. The Japanese anime adaptation introduced culturally specific storytelling elements, demonstrating the universality of the narrative while engaging audiences in cross-cultural dialogue. Each iteration reinforces the core lesson of the franchise: belonging, understanding, and family transcend differences, whether biological, cultural, or interspecies. The 2022 live-action adaptation of Lilo and Stitch, produced by Walt Disney Pictures, underscores the enduring popularity of the story. While maintaining fidelity to the original narrative, the adaptation introduces modern visual effects, enhanced action sequences, and live-action performances that highlight the realism and relatability of the characters. The live-action approach allows for nuanced exploration of Hawaiian culture, visual spectacle, and character interactions, demonstrating how the original story continues to resonate across generations and media formats. Cultural impact of the film is substantial. The Hawaiian concept of Ohana has entered global popular culture as a symbol of inclusivity, unconditional love, and loyalty. Educational initiatives have utilized the film to teach children about Hawaiian culture, environmental stewardship, and emotional intelligence. Stitch has become an iconic Disney character, representing the potential for redemption, personal growth, and the transformative power of love. The franchise's reach, including merchandise, international adaptations, and fan communities, illustrates the story's ability to transcend cultural and linguistic boundaries, engaging diverse audiences in meaningful ways. Thematically, Lilo and Stitch explores multiple layers of human experience. At its core, the story addresses grief, loss, and the search for belonging. Lilo's struggle to cope with her parents' death and find her place in the world resonates universally, while Stitch's journey from destruction to compassion parallels the human capacity for change and self-realization. The film also examines social structures, illustrating how institutions like the Galactic Federation and social services interact with individuals and families. It emphasizes empathy, moral responsibility, and the importance of nurturing environments in shaping behavior and identity. The humor and comedic elements of Lilo and Stitch are equally significant. Stitch's antics, physical comedy, and exaggerated facial expressions provide levity, balancing emotional and action-driven sequences. Lilo's unconventional logic, playful misinterpretations, and childlike innocence create humorous situations that are simultaneously relatable and imaginative. Secondary characters such as Pleakley and Jumba contribute additional layers of comedy, with their interactions highlighting cultural misunderstandings, authority dynamics, and personality contrasts. This multi-tiered humor ensures that the film appeals to children and adults alike, maintaining engagement while reinforcing narrative and thematic points. Animation, music, and storytelling coalesce in sequences that are visually, emotionally, and thematically rich. Moments such as Stitch learning to hula, engaging with other experiments, or rescuing Lilo during moments of crisis demonstrate the film's capacity to integrate character development with aesthetic beauty. Every detail, from color palettes to motion, from vocal performance to musical motif, is designed to serve the story's emotional and narrative needs. This meticulous attention to craft contributes to the film's status as a benchmark in Disney animation. In sum, Lilo and Stitch represents a convergence of narrative innovation, emotional resonance, cultural authenticity, and visual artistry. Its exploration of family, identity, and personal growth, combined with humor, action, and musical sophistication, establishes it as a timeless work that continues to influence audiences and creators. The film's characters, particularly Stitch, embody the transformative potential of empathy, kindness, and understanding, serving as enduring symbols of love and redemption. Its legacy extends across sequels, television series, international adaptations, merchandise, and live-action reinterpretations, demonstrating the story's universal appeal and cultural significance. Lilo and Stitch remains a testament to Disney's ability to blend entertainment with moral and emotional depth, offering lessons in family, compassion, and the boundless possibilities of connection and belonging. In addition to the central relationship between Lilo and Stitch, the secondary characters in Lilo and Stitch play crucial roles in driving both the narrative and its thematic depth. Dr. Jumba Jookiba, voiced by David Ogden Stiers, is one of the most complex supporting characters. While he initially appears as a comical, bumbling scientist responsible for creating Stitch, his personality reveals a deeper struggle with authority, morality, and responsibility. Jumba's genius is tempered by his arrogance and self-interest, yet as the film progresses, his interactions with Stitch and Lilo reveal a subtle capacity for attachment and conscience. Jumba often oscillates between comic bluster and moments of genuine care, particularly in sequences where he is forced to confront the consequences of his experiments. These moments offer a layered understanding of his character, demonstrating that even figures who initially seem selfish or morally ambiguous can exhibit growth when exposed to empathy and family bonds. Agent Pleakley, voiced by Kevin McDonald, provides a contrasting form of humor and perspective. Pleakley is an alien with an obsessive fascination with Earth and its customs, which he interprets in exaggerated, often incorrect ways. His misunderstanding of human behavior generates numerous comedic sequences, such as his attempts to blend into Hawaiian society by adopting stereotypical local habits or his dramatic reactions to mundane events. These scenes balance the narrative's emotional weight with levity, ensuring that the story remains accessible and entertaining to younger audiences while simultaneously offering subtle satire for adult viewers. Cobra Bubbles, voiced by Ving Rhames, presents a striking counterpoint to the whimsical characters. As a social worker with a stern and imposing demeanor, Bubbles embodies authority and societal oversight. Despite his intimidating appearance, he demonstrates a nuanced understanding of Lilo and Nanny's situation. His interactions with the sisters convey respect and concern rather than mere judgment, highlighting the film's exploration of trust, support systems, and the ways in which institutional figures can positively impact family dynamics. Another noteworthy figure is the Grand Councilwoman, voiced by Zoe Caldwell, who represents the Galactic Federation's authority and embodies the broader ethical and moral framework within which Stitch was created. Though her screen time is limited, her presence underscores the tension between law, morality, and personal choice, reflecting the broader societal and philosophical questions the film subtly explores. The detailed interplay of these secondary characters creates a rich narrative tapestry that supports the central themes of family, belonging, and transformation. Each character, whether human or alien, contributes uniquely to the challenges and growth experienced by Lilo and Stitch. The film carefully orchestrates moments of comedy, drama, and tension, ensuring that these supporting roles enhance the story's depth without overshadowing the protagonists. Beyond character interactions, Lilo and Stitch excels in constructing memorable sequences that blend action, humor, and emotional resonance. One particularly striking example occurs when Stitch's destructive tendencies inadvertently attract the attention of the local community. Scenes of chaos, including the destruction of public spaces, narrowly avoided disasters, and humorous misunderstandings, illustrate both Stitch's alien abilities and the challenges of integrating an extraordinary being into ordinary life. These sequences are meticulously animated to maximize visual humor while maintaining narrative tension, creating a dynamic pacing that sustains audience engagement. The film also employs quieter, more intimate moments to reinforce its emotional stakes. Scenes in which Lilo comforts Stitch after a misstep, or Stitch quietly observes Lilo's feelings of isolation and sadness, provide insight into character development and the gradual formation of familial bonds. These sequences rely on subtle visual storytelling, body language, and expressive animation, demonstrating the filmmaker's mastery of conveying emotion without reliance on dialogue. Music and sound play a central role in shaping the film's tone and reinforcing its cultural and emotional context. Alan Silvestri's score complements the narrative, seamlessly transitioning between playful, suspenseful, and tender musical motifs. The integration of Elvis Presley songs, such as Hound Dog and Suspicious Minds, is not merely decorative but narratively significant, reflecting Lilo's personal interests, shaping character interactions, and providing a cultural bridge between her world and the wider audience. These musical choices underscore the film's themes of individuality, nostalgia, and emotional expression, reinforcing the unique character of Lilo while also situating the story in a contemporary cultural context. Hawaiian culture is woven throughout the film, influencing dialogue, setting, and character behavior. From the hula school and local beaches to the use of Hawaiian language and traditional family values, the narrative respects and celebrates the culture rather than using it as a mere backdrop. This cultural specificity enhances the authenticity of the story and differentiates Lilo and Stitch from other animated films of its era, which often relied on more generic or fantastical settings. The film's thematic exploration of family extends beyond biological connections to embrace the idea of chosen family and mutual support. Lilo's insistence on treating Stitch as part of the family, despite his destructive behavior, exemplifies the narrative's central moral: compassion, patience, and care can transform relationships and foster growth. Similarly, Stitch's gradual adoption of these values demonstrates the reciprocal nature of family and the potential for individuals to learn empathy and responsibility through connection. The climactic sequences exemplify the narrative's careful balance of action, comedy, and emotional payoff. The arrival of the Galactic Council, Jumba and Pleakley's attempts to recapture Stitch, and the social services' scrutiny of Nanny converge in a series of high-stakes scenes that test the bonds between characters. Stitch's decision to prioritize Lilo's safety over his own freedom solidifies his transformation, providing a resolution that is both narratively satisfying and emotionally resonant. These moments also emphasize the film's underlying message that personal growth and redemption are possible even for those who begin life with destructive tendencies, provided they encounter love, guidance, and understanding. In addition to its storytelling achievements, Lilo and Stitch is notable for its visual and technical accomplishments. The film combines traditional hand-drawn animation with innovative techniques that allow for expressive character movements, dynamic action sequences, and detailed environmental backgrounds. The watercolor-inspired backdrops of Kauai provide depth, texture, and cultural authenticity, while the character animation conveys subtle emotions and personality traits with remarkable clarity. This combination of artistry and technical innovation contributed to the film's critical acclaim and enduring popularity. The narrative's accessibility to a broad audience, its engagement with cultural specificity, and its exploration of universal themes contribute to its lasting appeal. Lilo and Stitch is celebrated not only for its entertainment value but also for its capacity to evoke empathy, convey complex moral lessons, and provide a nuanced portrayal of non-traditional family dynamics. Its success in balancing humor, adventure, and emotional resonance set a benchmark for animated films in the early 21st century, influencing subsequent Disney productions and broader animated storytelling. The film's impact extends beyond cinematic achievements. Its sequels, television series, merchandise, and theme park adaptations demonstrate the franchise's commercial and cultural reach, while academic discussions highlight its significance in exploring themes of family, identity, and ethical responsibility within the context of animation. Lilo and Stitch remains a touchstone for examining the intersection of entertainment, culture, and moral storytelling in animated media, serving as both a beloved family film and a subject of scholarly interest. Upon its release on June 21, 2002, Lilo and Stitch was met with both commercial success and critical acclaim, quickly establishing itself as a standout entry in Disney's animated canon. The film's box office performance reflected its broad appeal, grossing over $273 million worldwide against a production budget of approximately $80 million. This financial success was particularly notable given the film's unconventional premise, non-princess-centric narrative, and emphasis on themes of family and belonging rather than traditional fairy tale romance. Its strong performance underscored the capacity of Disney animation to resonate with audiences through stories that explored unconventional protagonists, culturally specific settings, and complex emotional themes. Critically, Lilo and Stitch was praised for its originality, emotional depth, and distinctive visual style. Reviewers consistently highlighted the Hawaiian setting as a major strength, noting that the film avoided the generic tropical clichés common in animated features and instead portrayed an authentic, vibrant, and culturally rich environment. The hand-painted watercolor backgrounds, combined with expressive character animation, were singled out for creating a warm, immersive aesthetic that complemented the narrative's emotional undertones. The animation's ability to balance slapstick humor, action, and heartfelt moments demonstrated Disney's technical expertise and narrative maturity during the early 2000s. The characters, particularly Lilo and Stitch, were central to the film's critical success. Lilo was praised for her authenticity, emotional complexity, and relatability, offering audiences a protagonist who felt real and multidimensional. Unlike stereotypical animated children, Lilo was flawed, imaginative, and emotionally vulnerable, which allowed viewers to empathize with her struggles and triumphs. Stitch's characterization was also widely lauded. As a non-human protagonist with minimal dialogue, Stitch challenged conventional animation storytelling by relying heavily on expressive animation, creative vocalizations, and behavioral nuance. Critics recognized this as a bold and innovative choice, demonstrating that compelling, empathetic characters could emerge even from non-traditional designs. The dynamic between Lilo and Stitch, blending humor, emotional growth, and mutual influence, was repeatedly highlighted as the emotional heart of the film, showcasing Disney's ability to craft complex relational narratives within a family-friendly framework. The voice performances were also noted for their effectiveness in conveying personality and emotion. Davy Chase's portrayal of Lilo captured the character's eccentricities, determination, and vulnerability, creating a protagonist who felt authentic and compelling. Chris Sanders' vocal work as Stitch, employing growls, roars, and imitative sounds, demonstrated a remarkable range of emotional expression without conventional speech, earning praise for both creativity and execution. Tia Carrere's nanny offered a grounded, emotionally resonant counterpart to Lilo and Stitch, balancing humor with realism. Supporting performances, including David Ogden Stiers as Jumba, Kevin McDonald as Pleakley, and Ving Rhames as Cobra Bubbles, contributed layers of comedic timing, eccentricity, and gravitas, ensuring that even secondary characters were memorable and narratively functional. In addition to narrative and performance strengths, critics highlighted the film's themes of family, empathy, and belonging. The Hawaiian concept of Ohana, central to the story, resonated with audiences across cultures, emphasizing the universality of love, loyalty, and mutual care. The film's message that family extends beyond blood relations, and that connection is defined by commitment and emotional investment, was lauded for its emotional resonance and maturity, particularly in comparison to more conventional animated features. The combination of humor, heartfelt moments, and moral depth allowed the film to appeal to both children and adults, securing its status as a multi-generational favorite. Academically, Lilo and Stitch has been analyzed for its innovative approach to character development, cultural representation, and narrative structure. Scholars and critics have noted that the film departs from traditional Disney formulas by centering on a non-traditional family, exploring themes of grief and loss, and integrating culturally specific elements without reducing them to mere exoticism. The film's depiction of a young girl coping with parental loss, combined with an alien creature learning the meaning of love and responsibility, provides a rich framework for discussions about identity, emotional development, and cross-cultural storytelling in animation. Furthermore, Stitch's character challenges conventional notions of villainy and heroism, illustrating that moral growth and ethical understanding are possible even in beings initially defined by destructive impulses. The critical recognition extended to awards and nominations. Lilo and Stitch was nominated for the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature, marking it as one of the top animated films of its release year. Though it did not win, the nomination itself is indicative of the film's artistic and technical achievements. Additionally, the film received accolades from various critics' associations and animation-focused awards, celebrating its story, character design, and innovative use of sound and music. Industry recognition reinforced the film's position not only as a commercial success but also as a work of artistic merit within the broader animation landscape. The film's reception was further amplified by positive audience responses. Viewers appreciated its humor, emotional depth, and the relatability of its characters. Lilo's quirky personality, Stitch's chaos and eventual growth, and Nanny's struggles as a caregiver created a dynamic emotional interplay that engaged audiences on multiple levels. Socially, the film has been praised for its inclusive depiction of family structures, its positive portrayal of Hawaiian culture, and its willingness to explore complex emotional themes in a family-friendly context. Its influence is evident in the continuing popularity of its characters, quotes, and themes, as well as in the ongoing production of related media, merchandise, and adaptations. One of the most memorable sequences in Lilo and Stitch occurs when Stitch begins to fully integrate into Lilo's life through the hula lessons. This scene is more than a charming display of dance, it represents a pivotal turning point in Stitch's emotional development. The animators meticulously crafted Stitch's movements to transition from stiff, awkward, and chaotic motions to fluid, expressive gestures that synchronize with Lilo's rhythm. The scene's lighting, warm and golden, evokes a sense of harmony and belonging, reinforcing the thematic resonance of Ohana. The background depicts Kauai's lush landscape, including gently swaying palm trees, vivid flowers, and cascading waterfalls, which subtly mirrors Stitch's internal transformation from an agent of chaos to a being capable of love and empathy. Music accompanies the scene in a layered approach. Alan Silvestri's orchestral motifs blend with traditional Hawaiian percussion, and Lilo's occasional hums or references to Elvis Presley integrate her personality and cultural identity into Stitch's learning process. Symbolically, this scene represents the power of guidance, nurturing, and cultural immersion in shaping behavior and forging bonds, emphasizing that belonging is cultivated through understanding and shared experiences rather than imposed control. Another significant sequence involves the moment when Cobra Bubbles decides to remove Lilo from Nanny's care. This tense scene juxtaposes social authority with familial loyalty. Bubbles, a former CIA agent, is depicted with calm authority, his imposing physical presence and measured dialogue contrasting with the chaos of Lilo's emotional pleas. The visual composition emphasizes separation, frames and camera angles create a sense of distance between Lilo and Nanny, highlighting the threat to their unity. Stitch's intervention in this sequence is visually dynamic and emotionally charged. The animators use exaggerated motion and expressive facial detail to convey Stitch's desperation and protective instincts, while the background shifts from muted tones to more vibrant hues as the family reunites, reinforcing the emotional resolution. The symbolism is clear: love and loyalty can overcome institutional obstacles, and family bonds are resilient when rooted in empathy and commitment. Stitch's interactions with other experiments, explored more extensively in sequels and the television series, further demonstrate recurring visual and thematic motifs. Each experiment is designed with distinct colors, shapes, and physical traits that embody their behavioral characteristics. For instance, an experiment representing hyperintelligence might feature sharp angles and complex mechanical-like structures, while a lazy or clumsy experiment may have rounded, soft forms and muted colors. These visual cues communicate personality traits immediately, allowing audiences to engage with character dynamics on both cognitive and emotional levels. The recurring motif of Stitch helping or guiding other experiments reinforces the narrative's central moral: empathy, mentorship, and understanding facilitate personal growth and social cohesion. The climactic rescue scene, where Stitch saves Lilo from imminent danger, exemplifies the film's integration of action, emotional depth, and visual storytelling. The animation conveys urgency through rapid cuts, dynamic motion lines, and exaggerated expressions. Stitch's body stretches and contorts in impossible ways, emphasizing his alien physiology while simultaneously symbolizing the lengths he will go to protect his chosen family. Backgrounds shift dramatically, with stormy skies, crashing waves, and environmental obstacles reflecting the narrative tension. Silvestri's score intensifies the emotional stakes, incorporating both suspenseful motifs and swelling strings that underscore the triumph of love and loyalty over danger and adversity. This sequence encapsulates the film's core themes, visually and emotionally demonstrating the power of connection, trust, and commitment. Symbolism permeates Lilo and Stitch beyond specific sequences. The concept of Ohana itself serves as the central symbolic thread, linking diverse characters and narrative arcs. Stitch's evolution from chaos to compassion symbolizes the transformative potential inherent in nurturing environments. Lilo's persistence and kindness highlight the moral that empathy and patience can bridge even the widest divides, whether cultural, species-based, or emotional. Visual motifs such as water, sunlight, and the island's natural beauty symbolize renewal, emotional growth, and stability, contrasting with the disruptive presence of alien chaos or social tension. These recurring symbols reinforce the narrative's thematic consistency, subtly guiding viewers' emotional interpretation without overt exposition. The film's audience reception was overwhelmingly positive. Critics lauded its originality, humor, and emotional sophistication, noting that it effectively balanced action, comedy, and heartfelt storytelling. Reviewers highlighted the authenticity of the Hawaiian setting, the quality of animation, and the depth of character development, particularly Lilo's nuanced personality and Stitch's transformative arc. Box office performance mirrored critical acclaim. The film grossed over $273 million worldwide, a remarkable achievement for an animated feature emphasizing emotional storytelling and character-driven narrative over spectacle. The success demonstrated that audiences were eager for innovative animated films that combined relatability, humor, and cultural authenticity. Awards and recognition further underscored the film's impact. While it faced competition from other major animated releases of the early 2000s, Lilo and Stitch earned nominations for various accolades, including Annie Awards and other animation-focused honors. Critics and scholars frequently cite the film as an example of Disney's evolution in storytelling during this era, marking a shift toward grounded, emotionally resonant narratives that incorporate real-world cultural contexts alongside imaginative, fantastical elements. Comparatively, Lilo and Stitch stands out among Disney's body of work due to its unique combination of science fiction, grounded family drama, and cultural specificity. Unlike previous Disney classics set in fairy tale kingdoms or abstract magical worlds, the film situates its story in a tangible, contemporary environment. The inclusion of Hawaiian cultural elements, authentic character interactions, and real-world social challenges distinguishes it from both earlier animated features and contemporary peers. Its successful integration of comedy, action, emotional depth, and cultural authenticity set a new benchmark for family-oriented animation, influencing subsequent Disney and non-Disney animated productions alike. In conclusion, Lilo and Stitch represents a synthesis of imaginative storytelling, emotional resonance, and cultural authenticity. Through meticulous attention to character development, animation quality, music, visual symbolism, and thematic depth, the film communicates enduring lessons about family, empathy, and personal growth. Stitch's journey from a destructive alien to a beloved family member exemplifies the transformative power of love and understanding, while Lilo's perseverance highlights the importance of patience, kindness, and acceptance. Secondary characters, minor experiments, and environmental storytelling enrich the narrative, creating a universe that is simultaneously entertaining, educational, and morally resonant. The film's legacy extends beyond the original release. Direct-to-video sequels, television series, international adaptations, and the live-action remake illustrate its ongoing cultural relevance and influence. Merchandise, fan engagement, and educational tie-ins have further cemented its status as a beloved property. Critically and commercially successful, Lilo and Stitch continues to resonate with audiences worldwide, demonstrating that stories grounded in authenticity, empathy, and creative imagination have the power to transcend generations. Its exploration of grief, belonging, family, and identity ensures that the narrative remains timeless, while its inventive animation, humor, and cultural richness make it visually and emotionally compelling. Ultimately, Lilo and Stitch endures as a landmark in animated cinema, exemplifying the ability of film to entertain, educate, and inspire while celebrating the universal human desire for connection and belonging. The film's emphasis on Ohana, transformation, and the bridging of differences serves as a blueprint for storytelling that is both imaginative and profoundly human. Whether through the nuanced portrayal of sibling dynamics, the careful integration of Hawaiian culture, or the inventive depiction of alien characters and interstellar consequences, Lilo and Stitch demonstrates that meaningful narratives can combine humor, action, and emotion in a seamless, compelling package. Its continued popularity and influence confirm that audiences respond to stories that honor complexity, diversity, and the enduring value of love, loyalty, and acceptance. Through this synthesis of plot, character, visual artistry, music, and thematic depth, Lilo and Stitch achieves a rare combination of commercial appeal and artistic integrity. It stands as a model for animated storytelling, illustrating that films intended for family audiences can simultaneously entertain, provoke thought, and inspire empathy. Its cultural impact, critical acclaim, and enduring fan devotion underscore the significance of its contribution to animation history, solidifying its status as one of Disney's most innovative and beloved works. The success of Lilo and Stitch extended far beyond its initial theatrical release, giving rise to a broad franchise that has continued to captivate audiences worldwide. Disney capitalized on the film's popularity by creating multiple sequels, television adaptations, and spin-offs, each expanding the universe of experiments, aliens, and Hawaiian adventures introduced in the original story. The first major sequel, Stitch, the movie, 2003, served as a direct continuation of the narrative, introducing new experiments and laying the groundwork for the subsequent television series. This sequel maintained the core themes of family, belonging, and personal growth while expanding the world-building elements of Jumba's scientific experiments, illustrating the potential consequences and moral questions surrounding creation, ethics, and responsibility. While primarily released as a direct-to-video film, Stitch, the movie demonstrated that audiences remain deeply invested in the characters and the emotional narrative established by the original feature. Following this, Disney launched Lilo and Stitch, the series, 2003 to 2006, an animated television show that explored episodic adventures featuring Lilo, Stitch, and other experiments. Each episode typically centered on locating, rehabilitating, or integrating a different experiment, creating both a narrative continuity and a framework for teaching lessons about morality, empathy, and teamwork. The television series expanded the lore of the Lilo and Stitch universe, introducing new characters, locations, and challenges, while consistently emphasizing the importance of family, community, and compassion. The format allowed for a deeper exploration of character development, particularly Stitch's continued learning about responsibility, social behavior, and emotional regulation. The series also provided additional exposure to Hawaiian culture, environmental awareness, and the values of cooperation and understanding, thereby reinforcing the educational and moral dimensions of the original film. Additional direct-to-video sequels, including Lilo and Stitch 2, Stitch Has a Glitch, 2005, and Leroy and Stitch, 2006, continued the narrative, often returning to the central themes of identity, redemption, and familial bonds. Stitch Has a Glitch focuses on Stitch confronting a physical and emotional malfunction, which serves as an allegory for vulnerability, imperfection, and the importance of support and care within a family. Leroy and Stitch presents a climactic resolution to the series' ongoing storylines, featuring the final confrontations with Jumba's experiments and highlighting the continued evolution of the character's emotional and ethical growth. These sequels and spin-offs collectively established Lilo and Stitch as a durable franchise, demonstrating the versatility and enduring appeal of its characters and themes. In addition to sequels and series, the franchise expanded internationally. Stitch 2008 to 2011, a Japanese anime adaptation, reimagined the characters and setting for a global audience, introducing new adventures while maintaining the central themes of family, friendship, and personal growth. Although culturally adapted for a Japanese audience, the core values of Ohana, loyalty, and empathy remained intact, demonstrating the universality of the film's message. This international adaptation highlights the adaptability and resonance of Lilo and Stitch beyond its original cultural and geographic context, confirming the narrative's capacity to connect with audiences across diverse cultures and generations. The announcement of a live-action remake of Lilo and Stitch represents the most recent extension of the franchise and underscores its lasting cultural and commercial relevance. Disney's decision to produce a live-action version is part of a broader trend of adapting beloved animated features into live-action films, a strategy designed to introduce classic narratives to new audiences while leveraging the established emotional and commercial appeal of the original works. While specific details regarding casting, production, and release are evolving, the live-action adaptation promises to reinterpret the original story for contemporary audiences, potentially expanding its cultural and educational impact while preserving the essential emotional core centered on family, connection, and personal growth. Beyond direct entertainment media, Lilo and Stitch has had a profound and lasting cultural legacy. The film's depiction of Hawaiian culture, environment, and language has contributed to a broader global appreciation of the islands and their traditions. Educational institutions and cultural commentators have cited the film as an accessible introduction to Hawaiian values, particularly the concept of Ohana, and the respectful portrayal of local customs and environments. Its themes of inclusion, empathy, and the ethical treatment of others have made it a frequently referenced example in discussions about family dynamics, moral education, and cross-cultural storytelling. The characters of Lilo and Stitch have become iconic, appearing in theme parks, merchandise, video games, and fan communities, solidifying their place in the global consciousness and demonstrating the power of animated narratives to transcend their original medium. Cinematically, Lilo and Stitch is often regarded as a landmark in early 21st century animation for several reasons. Its unique combination of traditional hand-drawn animation with watercolor-inspired backgrounds set it apart from contemporaneous animated films dominated by either fully digital animation or heavily stylized visuals. The film's integration of humor, science fiction, and heartfelt emotional storytelling represents a successful blending of genres that is both entertaining and thematically sophisticated. Scholars and critics have noted that the film challenges conventional Disney archetypes, particularly in presenting a non-traditional family, a protagonist who is socially unconventional, and a monster who becomes the moral and emotional centerpiece of the story. This subversion of expectations has contributed to its critical acclaim and its continued relevance in discussions of animation, storytelling, and cultural representation. The legacy of Lilo and Stitch also includes its influence on subsequent animated works, both within Disney and in the broader industry. Its success demonstrated the viability of stories centered on diverse families, culturally specific settings, and unconventional protagonists. Later Disney films and animated series increasingly explored themes of diversity, family structures, and cultural specificity, reflecting a shift toward more inclusive and emotionally sophisticated storytelling. Furthermore, Stitch's characterization as an antihero turned family member has inspired other narratives that explore redemption, empathy, and moral complexity in characters who initially appear disruptive or chaotic. The franchise's ongoing popularity, including sequels, series, merchandise, and international adaptations, underscores its lasting appeal and reinforces the relevance of its core messages for new generations of viewers. In essence, Lilo and Stitch has transcended its initial role as a single animated feature to become a culturally, commercially, and emotionally influential franchise. Its characters, themes, and unique visual and auditory style continue to resonate, offering audiences both entertainment and moral insight. The film's enduring popularity, the expansion of its universe through sequels, television adaptations, and international versions, as well as its forthcoming live-action reinterpretation, all attest to its significance as a landmark in animated storytelling. Its long-term impact extends beyond entertainment, contributing to cultural education, discussions about family and belonging, and the evolution of character-driven narratives in animation. One of the most remarkable aspects of Lilo and Stitch is its animation style, which combines traditional hand-drawn techniques with modern innovations, resulting in a visually rich and emotionally expressive film. Unlike many contemporary animated films that relied heavily on computer-generated imagery, the filmmakers opted to maintain a handcrafted aesthetic, particularly in the backgrounds. The watercolor-inspired environments of Kauai are a testament to this choice, capturing the island's lush landscapes, vibrant beaches, and dramatic volcanic features with remarkable fidelity. These artistic choices not only create a visually stunning backdrop but also reinforce the narrative's cultural authenticity. The hand-painted textures allow for subtle variations in light, shadow, and color that enhance the mood of each scene. For instance, scenes depicting quiet moments between Lilo and Stitch are bathed in soft, warm hues, emphasizing intimacy and emotional connection, whereas chaotic sequences involving Stitch's mischief often feature exaggerated color contrasts to heighten the sense of energy and unpredictability. Character animation is equally sophisticated, with careful attention paid to facial expressions, body language, and movement that convey both personality and emotional states. Stitch's animation, in particular, demonstrates a remarkable range. Though he communicates primarily through gibberish, his gestures, posture, and expressive eyes convey fear, curiosity, mischief, and affection with clarity. Lilo's movements, often exaggerated to reflect her emotional intensity, are balanced by subtle gestures that reveal vulnerability, longing, and resilience. Nanny's animation conveys her dual role as caregiver and older sister, balancing authority with empathy. These choices allow the audience to form deep emotional connections with the characters, enhancing the narrative's impact. The voice acting complements the animation perfectly, infusing each character with distinctive personality traits. Davy Chase's portrayal of Lilo is particularly noteworthy, capturing the character's quirkiness, emotional volatility, and earnestness. Chris Sanders, who voices Stitch, delivers a performance that relies heavily on tonal variations, growls, and expressive sounds rather than conventional dialogue, allowing the animation to carry the emotional weight while his vocalizations provide humor and charm. Tia Carrere's Nanny exudes warmth, patience, and frustration in equal measure, creating a relatable and multidimensional caregiver. David Ogden Steyer's Jumba balances comic timing with a sense of moral ambiguity, while Kevin McDonald's Pleakley offers eccentricity and nervous energy. Ving Rhames as Cobra Bubbles adds gravitas and authority, grounding the film in reality amidst its fantastical elements. Upon its release, Lilo and Stitch was met with widespread critical acclaim and commercial success. Domestically, the film performed well at the box office, earning over $145 million in North America alone, with a worldwide gross exceeding $273 million. Critics praised the film for its originality, emotional depth, humor, and cultural authenticity. It was lauded for subverting traditional Disney formulas by presenting a story set in a contemporary, realistic environment while incorporating science fiction elements and non-traditional protagonists. Reviewers highlighted the film's ability to resonate with both children and adults, emphasizing themes of family, loss, acceptance, and personal growth that transcend age and cultural boundaries. Globally, the film's reception was similarly positive. Audiences in Europe, Asia, and other regions appreciated the universal themes of love and belonging, as well as the imaginative and visually striking alien designs. While the Hawaiian setting and cultural references were specific, the narrative's emotional core allowed viewers worldwide to connect with the characters and their experiences. The soundtrack and music were also a point of praise, with Alan Silvestri's orchestral compositions blending seamlessly with Elvis Presley's songs, which provided both humor and narrative context. The musical integration was recognized for enhancing character development and emphasizing key emotional beats. Lilo and Stitch garnered several awards and nominations, reflecting its artistic and narrative achievements. While it did not win the Academy Award, it received nominations for its animation and was recognized in various film festivals and animation-focused award ceremonies. The critical recognition further solidified its status as one of Disney's most innovative and emotionally resonant animated features of the early 2000s. Beyond its immediate success, the film's impact on the Disney franchise and modern culture has been profound. The popularity of Stitch as a character led to multiple direct-to-video sequels, including Stitch the Movie and Lilo and Stitch 2, Stitch Has a Glitch, each expanding the narrative universe and exploring the backstories of Jumba's other experiments. The television series, Lilo and Stitch, the series, introduced a broader audience to the experiments and provided serialized adventures that reinforced the themes of family, responsibility, and moral choice. Merchandise featuring Stitch, Lilo, and other characters became a significant part of Disney's commercial offerings, ranging from toys and clothing to video games and theme park attractions. Stitch quickly became an iconic figure, recognizable worldwide and celebrated for his mischievous yet endearing personality. Academically, Lilo and Stitch has been studied for its treatment of non-traditional family structures, cultural representation, and moral storytelling. Scholars have noted the film's ability to address complex themes, such as grief, social isolation, and personal transformation, within a format accessible to children, demonstrating the potential of animated films as vehicles for sophisticated narratives. Its portrayal of Hawaiian culture, while simplified for a general audience, has been praised for avoiding stereotypes and highlighting local traditions, music, and values. The film's enduring popularity also demonstrates the effectiveness of its storytelling strategies. By combining humor, adventure, emotional depth, and cultural specificity, Lilo and Stitch appeals to multiple audience demographics simultaneously. Its influence can be seen in subsequent Disney projects that explore non-traditional families, cultural authenticity, and morally complex characters within animated narratives. The legacy of Lilo and Stitch is also evident in its role in shaping audience expectations of Disney animation in the 21st century. The film's willingness to deviate from conventional fairy tale plots, embrace contemporary settings, and focus on diverse characters paved the way for later successes that similarly blended originality with emotional resonance. Moreover, the film's themes of acceptance, empathy, and chosen family continue to resonate in contemporary discussions about representation and inclusivity in media. Lilo and Stitch stands as a benchmark for how animated storytelling can balance entertainment with meaningful exploration of human and alien experiences, creating a narrative that is both timeless and culturally significant. As Lilo and Stitch progresses into its middle acts, the narrative carefully interweaves action, emotion, and character development. One particularly striking sequence is the chaotic interaction between Stitch and the other townspeople after Lilo adopts him. Stitch's alien abilities, superhuman strength, agility, and intelligence, allow him to create havoc almost instantly, from tearing apart mailboxes to dismantling local vendor stalls. While these moments are visually humorous and kinetic, they also serve an important narrative function, illustrating the gap between Stitch's understanding of his surroundings and the social norms of human society. The filmmakers use these sequences to subtly underscore a recurring theme in the film: growth and learning require patience, observation, and guidance. Lilo becomes that guiding force for Stitch, patiently redirecting his impulses, demonstrating social etiquette, and most importantly, offering unconditional acceptance. The emotional core of the film is consistently strengthened by Lilo's interactions with Stitch, especially during quieter, introspective moments. For instance, Lilo's late-night conversations with Stitch, where she shares her feelings of loneliness and alienation, are punctuated with small, nuanced gestures from Stitch that signify understanding and empathy. These sequences highlight the power of nonverbal communication in animation. Stitch often conveys emotions through posture, eyes, and subtle sounds rather than fully articulated speech. Chris Sanders' voice performance, with a mix of unintelligible syllables and emerging words, reinforces the idea that emotional connection transcends language. In these moments, the audience sees the gradual evolution of Stitch from a being focused on self-interest to one capable of empathy and moral reasoning. Nanny's character arc continues to deepen as the story explores the challenges of single parenting and societal scrutiny. The tension between her responsibility for Lilo and her personal aspirations is a recurring motif. The filmmakers depict her internal conflict with sensitivity. Nanny wants to provide stability and security, but she is also young and discovering her own limits. The presence of Cobra Bubbles, the intimidating yet ultimately compassionate social worker, serves as a narrative device to externalize these pressures. The sequences where social services evaluate Nanny's living situation are shot with heightened tension, blending realistic concerns with animated exaggeration to maintain engagement for younger audiences while still resonating with adults. These scenes emphasize the film's willingness to address real-world issues such as poverty, housing insecurity, and the pressures placed on guardians, giving the story emotional gravity rarely seen in contemporary animated films. Supporting characters such as Jumba and Pleakley provide additional layers of narrative complexity. Jumba, initially portrayed as a selfish, morally ambiguous figure, gradually demonstrates unexpected depth. Through his interactions with Stitch, he exhibits a protective and nurturing side, reflecting the film's central theme that family and belonging are cultivated through care rather than genetic ties. Pleakley's comedic misinterpretations of Earth customs create humor but also serve as a mirror for the audience, highlighting the absurdity of everyday behaviors and the importance of empathy and observation in understanding others. Together, these characters create a multidimensional story world where humor, action, and emotion coexist, reinforcing the narrative's central messages while maintaining engagement across diverse audience demographics. One of the film's most symbolically rich sequences occurs during a pivotal confrontation between Stitch and external forces threatening the family unit. Stitch must choose between pursuing his original, destructive programming and protecting Lilo and Nanny. This moment encapsulates the film's exploration of moral choice, identity, and belonging. The tension is heightened by carefully orchestrated animation, dramatic pacing, and an evocative musical score. The sequence's visual language, dynamic camera angles, expressive character animation, and the interplay of light and shadow, reinforces the narrative stakes, while the emotional subtext underscores Stitch's transformation from chaos incarnate to a being capable of selflessness and love. Cultural representation is another significant element that sets Lilo and Stitch apart. The film incorporates Hawaiian language, customs, and music with authenticity and respect. Lilo's fascination with hula, local folklore, and Elvis Presley serves multiple narrative functions. It grounds the story in a real-world cultural context, provides insight into her character, and creates opportunities for humor and emotional resonance. The film's attention to environmental detail, the depiction of beaches, volcanic landscapes, local flora, and wildlife, enhances immersion and conveys a deep appreciation for the Hawaiian setting. By integrating these elements seamlessly into the narrative, the filmmakers ensure that the cultural backdrop is not merely decorative but integral to the story's themes and character development. The soundtrack remains a central storytelling device throughout the film. Alan Silvestri's orchestral compositions enhance action sequences, underscore emotional beats, and provide cohesion to the film's pacing. The inclusion of Elvis Presley's music is particularly noteworthy. Lilo's attachment to Presley reflects her individuality and emotional expression, while also connecting human and alien elements in playful and meaningful ways. Musical sequences, such as Lilo dancing while Stitch mimics her movements, serve as both comedic set pieces and character development moments, illustrating the mutual learning and bonding that defines their relationship. Critical reception of Lilo and Stitch highlights its originality, emotional depth, and willingness to tackle unconventional themes. Reviewers praised the film for its humor, character development, and visual style, noting that the narrative's focus on non-traditional family structures and real-world challenges distinguished it from typical animated fare. The film was also recognized for its respectful depiction of Hawaiian culture, which contrasted with the more generic or fantasy-based settings common in Disney films of the era. Its success demonstrated that audiences were receptive to stories that combined whimsy, adventure, and emotional realism, encouraging future Disney projects to explore diverse settings, characters, and themes. The film's commercial strategy played a significant role in ensuring its enduring popularity. Trailers highlighted both comedic chaos and heartfelt family dynamics, appealing to a wide demographic. Merchandising, including plush toys, clothing, video games, and theme park attractions, capitalized on Stitch's unique design and appeal. The marketing emphasized his mischievous yet lovable persona, while simultaneously promoting the film's emotional and family-oriented aspects. This dual approach ensured that Lilo and Stitch reached audiences both in theaters and in homes, creating a sustained cultural presence that extended well beyond its initial release. Following the original film, Disney expanded the universe of Lilo and Stitch through direct-to-video sequels, television series, and international adaptations. Stitch. The movie introduced additional experiments and paved the way for Lilo and Stitch, the series, which explored episodic adventures while reinforcing the film's central themes of family, empathy, and personal growth. Direct-to-video sequels such as Lilo and Stitch 2, Stitch Has a Glitch and Leroy and Stitch further developed character arcs, introduced new challenges, and maintained thematic consistency. International adaptations, such as the Japanese anime series Stitch, reimagined the story for new cultural contexts while preserving the emotional resonance that defined the original film. These extensions of the Lilo and Stitch universe demonstrate the story's adaptability, universality, and continued relevance across generations and cultures. Beyond the initial plot and overarching themes, the characters of Lilo and Stitch deserve deeper exploration, as they are the emotional core that drives the story and distinguishes it from conventional animated features. Lilo Pelekai, voiced by Davy Chase, is a remarkably layered protagonist. She is a 6-year-old girl whose personality blends vulnerability with fierce independence. Unlike traditional Disney heroines, Lilo is not depicted as particularly graceful, socially adept, or conventionally beautiful, in a fairy tale sense. Instead, she is messy, eccentric, imaginative, and determined, reflecting the realities of a child coping with grief, isolation, and societal misunderstanding. Lilo's fascination with extraterrestrial life and unconventional hobbies underscores her outsider status, but it also sets the stage for her bond with Stitch, who himself is literally and figuratively an outsider. Lilo's character arc is one of emotional resilience. Despite repeated failures, miscommunications, and social rejection, she consistently seeks connection and demonstrates empathy, teaching audiences that emotional courage and openness are forms of strength. Her frequent clashes with other children and her moments of loneliness create a compelling portrait of childhood struggle, making her highly relatable to viewers who have experienced social alienation or familial challenges. Nani Pelekai, Lilo's older sister and legal guardian, is equally complex. Voiced by Tia Carrere, Nani embodies the tension between responsibility and personal desire. She is thrust into the parental role at a young age after the loss of her parents, a situation that would challenge anyone. Nani's struggles, ranging from financial instability to bureaucratic pressures from social services, paint a realistic portrait of the challenges faced by guardians in non-traditional families. Unlike many Disney films where adult characters are static or secondary, Nani is dynamic and central to the story. She is constantly negotiating her own needs with those of her sister, making sacrifices and showing the resilience and adaptability required in real-world familial relationships. Her moments of frustration and vulnerability enhance the film's emotional authenticity, particularly in scenes where she fears losing Lilo to social services or must confront her limitations in protecting her sister from harm. Stitch, or Experiment 626, represents perhaps the most innovative and multidimensional character in Disney's early 2000s canon. Voiced by co-director Chris Sanders, Stitch is designed to challenge the audience's perceptions of morality, identity, and growth. At the film's outset, he is a destructive, selfish, and nearly unstoppable creature, engineered purely for chaos. However, his interactions with Lilo catalyze a profound transformation. Stitch's evolution from a self-centered alien to a loving family member exemplifies the film's core message: even those who seem irredeemable can find purpose, connection, and morality through love and guidance. Sanders' vocal performance is particularly notable for conveying a full range of emotion without relying on traditional dialogue, using a combination of grunts, growls, and expressive sounds that communicate Stitch's internal journey. This innovative approach to voice acting contributed significantly to the character's charm and enduring popularity. Dr. Jumba Jookiba and Agent Pleakley provide complementary narrative and comic elements. Jumba, voiced by David Ogden Stiers, is eccentric, brilliant, and morally ambiguous. While he is responsible for Stitch's creation, his personality is characterized by overconfidence, curiosity, and occasional bumbling, which prevents him from being a purely antagonistic force. Pleakley, voiced by Kevin McDonald, serves as a foil to Jumba's energy, providing nervous, cautious, and often absurd reactions to Earth's customs. Their dynamic introduces humor and levity, balancing the film's more emotionally intense scenes. Meanwhile, Cobra Bubbles, voiced by Ving Rhames, functions as both a narrative agent and a symbolic representation of authority and protection. Though initially intimidating, his character is revealed to be empathetic and caring, subtly reinforcing the film's emphasis on unconventional forms of family and support. The visual and artistic elements of Lilo and Stitch are integral to its unique tone and atmosphere. Unlike the digitally enhanced animations that would dominate Disney releases later in the decade, this film relied heavily on traditional hand-drawn animation combined with watercolor backgrounds inspired by Hawaiian landscapes. The choice to use watercolors rather than photorealistic or digital textures lends the film a soft, organic, and painterly aesthetic that evokes warmth and natural beauty. Background artist Rex Grignan and the rest of the art team meticulously studied Kauai's scenery to create immersive environments, including verdant mountains, sandy beaches, lush jungles, and small town streets that feel authentic rather than stylized. These settings are not mere backdrops, they actively contribute to the narrative, reflecting the characters' emotional states. For instance, the open, sunlit beaches often accompany moments of joy or bonding, while dense, shadowy interiors heighten tension or isolation. In addition to visual artistry, music and sound design play pivotal roles in establishing the film's identity. The soundtrack incorporates numerous Elvis Presley songs, reflecting Lilo's quirky personality and love for unconventional culture. Songs such as Suspicious Minds and Burning Love are integrated into the story in a way that enhances humor and character development rather than serving as traditional musical numbers. The choice of Elvis also situates the film culturally within Hawaii, where Presley's music enjoyed widespread popularity, bridging Lilo's individual tastes with her environment. Original score compositions by Alan Silvestri further underscore emotional moments, blending orchestral arrangements with light, playful motifs that mirror Stitch's mischievous energy. Sound effects, particularly for Stitch's nonverbal vocalizations, are carefully crafted to evoke empathy, humor, and excitement, creating a fully immersive auditory experience. Cultural representation in Lilo and Stitch is another key aspect of its distinction within Disney's portfolio. The filmmakers made intentional choices to depict Hawaiian culture respectfully, integrating language, traditions, and environmental details authentically. For instance, the concept of Ohana is central to both the narrative and Hawaiian social values, teaching audiences about communal responsibility, support networks, and familial bonds beyond biological ties. Lilo and Nani's daily lives incorporate aspects of Hawaiian music, hula dancing, local customs, and cuisine, all depicted without resorting to caricature. While some critics have noted the challenges inherent in representing a diverse and complex culture in a commercial animated film, most praise the efforts to avoid stereotypes and to foreground Hawaiian voices and perspectives. The narrative structure of Lilo and Stitch also demonstrates remarkable sophistication for an animated feature. The film weaves multiple narrative threads: alien escapades, human family struggles, social services oversight, into a cohesive and emotionally compelling storyline. Each plotline reinforces the others. Stitch's transformation mirrors Lilo's social integration, Nani's struggles highlight the stakes of familial responsibility, the alien pursuit introduces tension, pacing, and opportunities for humor. This multilayered storytelling allows the film to appeal simultaneously to children and adults, balancing visual spectacle and slapstick comedy with nuanced examinations of grief, loneliness, and personal growth. The enduring appeal of Lilo and Stitch lies in its ability to seamlessly integrate multiple layers of storytelling, emotional depth, cultural authenticity, and artistic innovation into a single animated feature. At its core, the film is a meditation on the nature of family, the transformative power of empathy, and the capacity for growth in even the most unlikely individuals. Through the central relationship between Lilo and Stitch, the film explores what it means to belong, to love, and to accept others despite their imperfections. Lilo, a young girl navigating grief, social isolation, and personal identity, embodies resilience, imagination, and emotional intelligence. Stitch, a genetically engineered alien initially designed for chaos, represents the possibility of redemption and the profound influence of nurture, care, and emotional guidance. Their bond illustrates the central Hawaiian principle of Ohana, which defines family not as a matter of blood but as a network of support, loyalty, and love. The visual and auditory design of the film enhances these thematic elements, grounding the story in a vivid, culturally authentic Hawaiian setting. Hand-painted watercolor backgrounds, realistic depictions of flora and landscapes, and attention to traditional architecture provide an immersive sense of place, while the soundtrack, combining authentic Hawaiian music, ambient environmental sounds, and the playful inclusion of Elvis Presley songs, creates a rich auditory tapestry that reflects character, emotion, and culture. These artistic choices reinforce the narrative's emotional resonance and cultural respect, allowing audiences to experience both the charm and the complexity of Hawaiian life while engaging with universal themes. Sound design, particularly in Stitch's expressive vocalizations, demonstrates the film's innovative approach to conveying emotion and character through auditory cues, emphasizing the interplay between personality, behavior, and audience empathy. The film's supporting characters contribute to a robust narrative ecosystem. Nani, Lilo's older sister and caregiver, represents resilience, responsibility, and the challenges of real-world family dynamics. Characters such as Jumba, Pleakley, and Cobra Bubbles provide humor, moral contrast, and narrative tension, while secondary characters like David Kawena and Lilo's classmates enrich the world with realism and relatability. Each character is carefully developed, serving both narrative and thematic purposes. Their interactions highlight the film's exploration of inclusion, diversity, and the impact of personal choice on relationships, demonstrating that emotional growth and moral understanding are universal processes that transcend age, species, and circumstance. The narrative structure itself is a masterclass in blending humor, action, and emotional depth. Stitch's chaotic adventures provide physical comedy and tension, while the domestic and emotional storylines anchor the film in relatable experiences of love, loss, and familial responsibility. Climactic moments, such as Stitch choosing to protect Lilo despite the risks, exemplify the moral and emotional payoff of character development, demonstrating that true growth is measured not only by action but by ethical and emotional awareness. The film balances these elements with skill, ensuring that humor, adventure, and heartfelt moments coexist without undermining one another, creating a cohesive and compelling storytelling experience. The reception of Lilo and Stitch further solidifies its status as a landmark in animation. Critically acclaimed for its originality, emotional complexity, and cultural authenticity, the film garnered an Academy Award nomination for Best Animated Feature and received praise for its innovative character design, hand-drawn animation, and nuanced storytelling. Audiences of all ages connected with the film's humor, emotional depth, and relatable characters, establishing it as a beloved classic. Its success paved the way for an expansive franchise, including sequels, television adaptations, international spin-offs, and a forthcoming live-action remake, each of which reinforces and expands upon the central themes of family, belonging, and personal growth. Culturally, the film has had a lasting impact on the perception of Hawaiian traditions and values in global media. By presenting Hawaiian language, music, customs, and landscapes with care and respect, Lilo and Stitch serves as both entertainment and an accessible introduction to the island's culture. Its educational and moral dimensions, particularly the concept of Ohana, resonate across cultures, emphasizing inclusivity, empathy, and the ethical responsibilities inherent in relationships. The film's characters, especially Lilo and Stitch, have become iconic, representing resilience, transformation, and the universal desire for connection. These elements contribute to a legacy that transcends its initial release, influencing subsequent animation, media representations of family and culture, and audience expectations for emotionally resonant storytelling. Ultimately, Lilo and Stitch exemplifies the capacity of animation to combine artistry, cultural specificity, emotional intelligence, and universal appeal. Its careful integration of visual style, music, sound, and narrative creates a world that is both grounded and fantastical, allowing audiences to engage with profound themes through humor, adventure, and heartwarming relationships. The film's legacy is multifaceted. It is a commercial and critical success, a culturally significant work, and an enduring moral narrative that continues to teach and inspire. By portraying characters who grow through love, empathy, and responsibility, and by situating those characters in a richly realized cultural and environmental context, Lilo and Stitch demonstrates the power of storytelling to transcend age, geography, and time, leaving a lasting imprint on both the medium of animation and the hearts of audiences worldwide. In summary, Lilo and Stitch is more than an animated feature. It is a comprehensive exploration of identity, family, culture, and emotional growth. Its innovative animation, culturally authentic setting, memorable characters, and thoughtful integration of music and sound establish it as a landmark in early 21st century animation. Through the lens of humor, adventure, and heart, the film conveys enduring lessons about empathy, inclusion, and the transformative power of connection. Its influence on animation, its educational and cultural significance, and its enduring popularity ensure that Lilo and Stitch will remain a touchstone of cinematic storytelling for generations to come, demonstrating the timeless resonance of a story grounded in love, family, and the courage to embrace difference. A central pillar of Lilo and Stitch is the concept of Ohana, a Hawaiian term meaning family in an expansive and profound sense. Family is not limited to blood relations, and family members are responsible for caring for one another, ensuring that no one is left behind or forgotten. The film elevates this concept from a cultural reference to the narrative's guiding moral principle, deeply influencing character arcs, plot progression, and thematic resonance. Lilo, as the primary human protagonist, embodies the essence of Ohana through her unwavering care for Stitch, despite his chaotic and destructive behavior. Her insistence on including Stitch as a legitimate member of the family, regardless of the challenges he presents, underscores a key moral lesson. Love and compassion have the power to transform relationships and encourage growth, even for those who appear fundamentally flawed. Stitch's journey is a mirror to this philosophy. Created as a being of pure chaos, Stitch initially operates according to instinct and programming, with no understanding of morality, empathy, or human social structures. Through his interactions with Lilo, and later with Nanny and other supporting characters, Stitch begins to internalize the principles of Ohana. Moments of learning are gradual, expressed through subtle gestures, protective actions, and eventual self-sacrifice. The narrative arc demonstrates that moral transformation is not instantaneous but requires nurturing, guidance, and exposure to caring relationships. Nanny's role complements Lilo's, emphasizing the responsibilities inherent in caregiving and the struggles of maintaining a stable family unit under stress. Her challenges, managing a household, satisfying work obligations, and defending her capacity to provide for Lilo in the face of social scrutiny, highlight the broader societal pressures faced by caregivers. Nanny's perseverance, patience, and adaptive problem-solving illustrate the diverse forms that familial love can take, reinforcing the film's message that family is defined not solely by connection but also by commitment and support. Secondary characters, such as Jumba, Pleakley, and Cobra Bubbles, further reinforce the Ohana theme through their evolving roles. Jumba, originally a morally ambiguous scientist, becomes invested in Stitch's well-being, suggesting that even those outside traditional familial structures can contribute meaningfully to the nurturing and guidance of others. Pleakley's outsider perspective offers humorous insights but also emphasizes the importance of empathy and understanding when engaging with communities different from one's own. Cobra Bubbles, as a representative of institutional authority, demonstrates that responsible oversight can coexist with compassion, ultimately supporting the family unit rather than undermining it. Beyond character analysis, the film uses specific narrative devices to reinforce Ohana and moral lessons. Several sequences juxtapose chaos and harmony, such as Stitch's destructive actions causing tension in Lilo's home contrasted with tender moments where he protects or comforts her. These moments serve as visual and emotional representations of the moral principle: caring for others requires patience, understanding, and a willingness to see potential where others see flaws. The concept of forgiveness is also embedded in the narrative. Lilo forgives Stitch for repeated acts of destruction, emphasizing that love and acceptance are processes that may involve repeated trials and learning. Similarly, Stitch's eventual protective behavior represents his acceptance of responsibility, demonstrating that personal growth is achievable when guided by ethical and emotional frameworks. The success of Lilo and Stitch led to a proliferation of sequels, spin-offs, and adaptations, each exploring different facets of the universe introduced in the original film. Stitch, the movie, 2003, served as a direct continuation, introducing audiences to other experiments created by Jumba, expanding the narrative possibilities, and reinforcing the film's moral lessons on family and responsibility. Lilo and Stitch 2, Stitch Has a Glitch, 2005, explored further emotional depth, focusing on Stitch's internal struggle with a malfunction that threatens his health and relationship with Lilo, again highlighting themes of loyalty, empathy, and care. Lilo and Stitch, the series extended the universe for television audiences, combining episodic adventures with educational and moral lessons about accepting differences, problem-solving, and fostering positive relationships. The series emphasized character development, introducing new experiments and providing moral and ethical dilemmas that allowed viewers to engage with the Ohana concept in varied contexts. International adaptations and spin-offs, such as the Japanese anime Stitch 2008 to 2011, further broadened the franchise's cultural reach, demonstrating the story's universal appeal and the adaptability of its themes. These adaptations often localized cultural references while maintaining the central ethos of family, loyalty, and personal growth, underscoring the narrative's flexibility and global resonance. In addition to animated expansions, Disney announced a live-action adaptation of Lilo and Stitch, intended to translate the original story's emotional depth and cultural specificity into a contemporary cinematic format. This adaptation illustrates the enduring popularity and relevance of the narrative, emphasizing that the themes of family, acceptance, and transformation remain compelling across generations and media formats. The franchise's influence on fan culture has been substantial. Stitch, in particular, has achieved iconic status, appearing in merchandise, theme parks, and promotional campaigns worldwide. Fans have embraced the character's combination of mischief, vulnerability, and loyalty, seeing in him both humor and emotional relatability. Communities of fans have also engaged with the broader themes of Ohana, reflecting the film's moral and cultural impact beyond the screen. Lilo and Stitch has inspired academic discussions, cultural studies, and analysis of family structures in media. Scholars have noted its emphasis on non-traditional families, the potential for moral development in characters previously seen as monstrous or flawed, and the respectful incorporation of Hawaiian culture. These discussions highlight the film's capacity to inform perspectives on empathy, cultural representation, and ethical storytelling in animation. At its core, the enduring appeal of Lilo and Stitch lies in its synthesis of humor, adventure, emotional resonance, and cultural authenticity. The narrative demonstrates that even in a world populated by extraordinary beings, the universal principles of care, compassion, and belonging are paramount. By portraying characters who learn, grow, and form deep emotional bonds, the film communicates lessons about resilience, responsibility, and the transformative power of love. The concept of Ohana, central to the film's philosophy, resonates universally because it transcends cultural boundaries. While rooted in Hawaiian tradition, the principles of acceptance, commitment, and mutual support are applicable to families, communities, and relationships worldwide. This universality contributes to the film's lasting impact and cross-cultural appeal. The continued relevance of Lilo and Stitch is also reflected in its reception by new generations. Audiences consistently respond to the humor, action, and emotional stakes, while older viewers appreciate the sophisticated exploration of grief, identity, and moral growth. The franchise's expansion through sequels, television series, spin-offs, and live-action adaptations ensures that these lessons reach broader audiences, allowing the story to remain culturally and emotionally significant decades after its original release. As the narrative unfolds toward its climax, the interplay between Lilo, Stitch, and the supporting characters intensifies, creating a rich tapestry of relational dynamics. One of the film's strengths lies in its nuanced portrayal of minor characters, who serve to reinforce thematic concerns while enriching the story world. For example, Gantu, the hulking alien enforcer, represents an external threat that contrasts with the domestic challenges faced by Lilo and Nanny. Though his presence is often menacing and antagonistic, Gantu's role is carefully calibrated. He provides high-stakes tension without overshadowing the central emotional arc between Lilo and Stitch. His failures, combined with comedic elements in his interactions with other aliens and environments, balance suspense with humor, demonstrating the film's capacity to integrate diverse narrative tones effectively. Additionally, the other genetic experiments introduced in sequels and referenced in the broader Lilo and Stitch universe provide a conceptual depth to the original film. Each experiment embodies unique traits, strengths, and vulnerabilities, creating a framework through which themes of identity, morality, and belonging can be explored. While these experiments are more fully developed in follow-up media, their conceptual seeds are present in the original film through Stitch's own evolution. The notion that even beings created solely for chaos can experience growth, form bonds, and integrate into a family unit underscores a broader philosophical theme. The potential for transformation exists in all individuals, regardless of origin or initial intent. Thematically, Lilo and Stitch explores complex ideas of family, identity, and ethical choice, often through visual symbolism and character behavior. For instance, Stitch's repeated attempts to emulate Lilo's behaviors, dancing, playing, and mimicking human gestures, serve as a visual metaphor for social learning and moral development. Similarly, the Hawaiian setting is symbolically significant. The island's lush landscapes, expansive ocean vistas, and volcanic formations mirror the emotional landscapes of the characters, beauty intertwined with challenge, isolation juxtaposed with community, and natural chaos balanced by nurturing bonds. The concept of Ohana operates both literally and metaphorically, emphasizing that family extends beyond biological connection to include those who nurture, protect, and love one another. Philosophically, the film raises questions about free will, moral responsibility, and the nature of belonging. Stitch is, in essence, a creature designed for destruction, yet he is given the opportunity to choose differently. His evolution demonstrates that moral development is contingent upon socialization, empathy, and emotional connection. Lilo functions as a moral catalyst, guiding Stitch toward ethical understanding not through coercion or punishment, but through love, patience, and acceptance. This framework aligns with broader ethical theories in human psychology and moral philosophy, suggesting that environmental context, relational bonds, and mentorship play crucial roles in shaping moral behavior. The film's climactic sequences, particularly the final confrontation with Gantu and the rescue of Lilo, combine action, suspense, and emotional resonance. Stitch's decision to prioritize family over self-interest crystallizes the central message: belonging, love, and mutual care are transformative forces. The visual design of these sequences, dynamic camera angles, expressive character animation, and deliberate pacing, intensifies audience engagement. Music and sound design amplify emotional stakes, with Silvestri's orchestral score underscoring both tension and resolution. The integration of these cinematic elements demonstrates Disney's mastery of animation as a storytelling medium capable of conveying complex emotional and ethical narratives. Critically, Lilo and Stitch has been praised for its innovation within the Disney canon. Scholars and reviewers note its departure from traditional princess-centered narratives, its realistic portrayal of grief and familial responsibility, and its emphasis on non-traditional family structures. The film's cultural specificity, grounded in Hawaiian language, music, and customs, has been highlighted as an example of respectful and thoughtful representation in mainstream animation. Its willingness to tackle themes of loss, isolation, and moral choice without resorting to simplification distinguishes it from contemporaneous animated films, contributing to its enduring appeal and critical acclaim. From an academic perspective, Lilo and Stitch has been examined in contexts ranging from cultural studies to psychology. Analysts have explored its representation of grief and resilience in children, its exploration of non-traditional family dynamics, and its treatment of cross-species empathy as a metaphor for social and ethical development. The film's success demonstrates that animated storytelling can address complex, real-world issues while remaining accessible and entertaining for diverse audiences. Furthermore, its incorporation of Hawaiian cultural elements has been discussed as a model for integrating authentic cultural contexts into mainstream media without resorting to stereotypes or superficial exoticism. The long-term influence of Lilo and Stitch on Disney animation and popular culture is substantial. The film inspired subsequent projects to explore diverse settings, non-traditional family structures, and emotionally sophisticated narratives. Its success demonstrated that audiences respond positively to stories that blend humor, action, and emotional realism with culturally specific contexts. Stitch himself became a cultural icon, appearing in merchandise, theme park attractions, and cross-media collaborations worldwide. The film's approach to blending science fiction with real-world emotional stakes has influenced both animated and live-action storytelling, encouraging a broader conceptualization of what family-oriented entertainment can encompass. Merchandising and brand extensions reinforced the film's impact. Stitch's popularity led to an array of products, including plush toys, clothing, school supplies, and interactive video games. The character's appeal lies in his dual nature, mischievous and chaotic, yet ultimately lovable and empathetic. Theme park attractions, including character meet-and-greets and ride experiences, further solidified Stitch's presence in global popular culture. These extensions of the film into tangible experiences allowed audiences to engage with the characters and themes repeatedly, strengthening the cultural resonance and ensuring generational appeal. The Lilo and Stitch franchise's expansion into sequels, television adaptations, and international versions exemplifies the narrative's adaptability and universality. The direct-to-video sequels, including Lilo and Stitch 2, Stitch Has a Glitch and Leroy and Stitch, allowed the creative team to explore Stitch's continued development and introduce new narrative challenges while reinforcing the core themes of family and empathy. Lilo and Stitch, the series further developed episodic storytelling, providing opportunities for character exploration, narrative experimentation, and exploration of moral and ethical dilemmas. International adaptations, such as the Japanese anime Stitch, demonstrate the story's cross-cultural adaptability, retaining its thematic resonance while appealing to different audiences with unique cultural lenses. Overall, Lilo and Stitch represents a synthesis of innovation, emotional depth, and cultural specificity. Its careful blending of humor, action, and heartfelt storytelling creates a cinematic experience that is both entertaining and philosophically meaningful. The film's exploration of family, identity, moral growth, and cultural context establishes it as a landmark in Disney animation, demonstrating the studio's capacity to create narratives that are visually striking, emotionally resonant, and thematically rich. Its enduring popularity, critical acclaim, and influence on subsequent animation underscore its significance as a culturally and artistically impactful work.